Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're in the Pokemon investing space, you've probably come across this video. It's created, I wouldn't say controversy, it certainly hasn't created controversy, but it's created a little bit of interest in the hobby, the collecting and investing space just recently. Julian is OKJ Love, is a local Australian Pokemon content creator, so thumbs up mate. Some of us Aussies get a bit forgotten about living down under, don't we? So thanks for creating the video, mate, and thanks for shooting an email. So Julian shot me an email asking for myself to go on I don't know if it was a live stream or just a video that was going to get edited, of course, with myself, himself, Nostalgianomics, and Opossum Bard. Unfortunately, the time was yesterday, and during the time that everyone else was coordinated to be in it, I was at my day job, so unfortunately I couldn't make it. Selling Toyotas, would have much rather been speaking about Pokemon investing and having a debate about it than selling Toyotas yesterday. But it was a fruitful day. So anyway, thanks for reaching out. And I just wanted to say this whole video, the whole idea behind this video is to, I suppose, not oppose all your opinions, but offer my side to it. Everyone, and I know the video wasn't directed at me. You weren't just like, oh, Pokegods. There was plenty of people included in the video, myself and Pokebid and Nostalgianomics and lots of other content creators, of course. So I wanted to have this video as a way of presenting my point of view because I didn't get to make it to that video that you set up yesterday morning. So I apologize for that. Work gets in the way of some important things sometimes, doesn't it? And I just wanted to premise this video with two things before I get started. One is... The first one is that whenever we're debating a topic, right, it's never personal. So there's no personal attacks here. I'm not like that and won't be like that. But we're also allowed to present back our points of view, aren't we? The second thing I want to premise is that this hobby should be a place for everyone, except one type of people that I'll get to in a second. This hobby should be a place for everyone, collectors, investors, graders, whatever it might be, kids, adults, everyone else in between, male, female, it doesn't matter. Okay, this hobby should be a place for everyone, except the one that I wanted to chat to you about, which is scalpers. There is no place for that. That is people that set up bots to buy out online products so people can't get their hands on it, or buy local store products so people can't get their hands on it and then resell it at a higher price. That is not on. It sucks. I saw it in the car world throughout the whole of COVID and it sucked. There was consumers that really wanted to get a car to suit their life needs, which is generally the idea behind buying a new car, is to solve some sort of problem. And there was other people buying those cars, getting in the queue, clogging up the system with the whole idea never to drive the car, but just resell it to make a profit. That sucked. All it did is create a backlog. And then people that got sick of waiting ended up having to pay a higher price to buy a car that, you know, to get it sooner off some scalper that came in and bought it before them. So like I've seen it. I know what it's like. I've lived through it through my day job, and we've lived through it through Pokemon cards a little bit. So that part of the hobby doesn't exist. So they're the two things I wanted to preface. This hobby is a place for everyone and nothing's personal in this video. Now, let's get into some of the points. So what I did, I listened to your video about 2 or 3 times and I wanted to extrapolate the main points that I thought you were trying to make. So let's jump straight into them, hey? I think the first one that I noticed was that you won't get gains. And now, with this, I think the whole idea of you won't get gains was premised around 151, which was what your whole video was premised around. In 151, and the whole idea that so many investing people, myself included, were spruiking 151 and saying, you know, it's going to go to the moon, there's a possibility it won't be reprinted, etc., but it could, so, you know, we're leaving a bit of a caveat there. And then all of a sudden, it has been reprinted and prices have tanked. And it's that whole notion of this huge uncertainty and the idea that the Pokemon company can reprint any set whenever they want and send prices back down to earth if they want to. So I think there's a few things that come into play there. First of all, every single Pokemon card booster box over history has gone up in price. Every single Pokemon card booster pack over time, whether it's from a collection box, a tin, an elite trainer box, a sleeve blister, a 3-pack blister, has gone up over time. So this whole idea that you won't get gains, albeit is it going to be better than other forms of investment, which I'll get to in a second, that's another point to touch on, albeit, you know, is it going to outperform other areas? Well, I mean, that's for you to decide. And I've always been a big believer that Pokemon cards is the fun part of your investment portfolio. I've always said, make it 5%. If you've got a, you know, $800,000 property and you own 50% of it, so you've got $400,000 equity in your property, maybe you're floating around with $40,000 of shares, and maybe you have a few other alt investments like crypto or something. Well, okay, maybe you've got $500,000 in equity across your share portfolio, and you've also got some debt. But out of your $500,000 equity, if we look at 10%, that's 50 grand. If we look at 5%, that's 25 grand. You could have some fun with 5% of your total equity and put 25 grand into Pokemon and just see what happens. What's the worst that happens? It all goes to zero and your 5% of your total portfolio you've lost. Okay, damn it. That can happen. You could have also put 25 grand into shares or Bitcoin or another alt investment, and that could have gone to zero. Investing is a risk. We know that. We know investing is a risk, but geez, it's fun to have something that you can touch, feel, look at, have fun, talk to your mates about, talk to the community about. You can't do that really with shares or property. Like, I know you can look at property, of course, but shares is probably a better example. So this whole thing that you won't get gains, I mean, okay, so what if you don't? It all crashes to zero. No, we'll open it all and have a heap of fun with it. But I can tell you what, every single Pokemon card set across history has gone up. Given enough time, it will go up. If Steam Siege can go up, then Temporal Forces is going to go up. So that's my first point on you won't get gains, because you know what? You will, given enough time. Second one, and this wasn't really a point that you made, but I hear it a lot. I hear this one a lot, okay? Selling is hard and it is very time consuming. That's one that I hear a lot. Oh, you Pokemon guys, you've bought, 6 cases of Fusion Strike. Good luck selling that. That's going to be hard work. Well, okay, lots of things are hard work when you sell them. Selling a property doesn't just happen overnight. Selling shares is easy, okay? You're going to cop, what, a $10, $15, $20 brokerage fee, and then you're on your way. The money will be in your account in 2 business days. Like, easy. Okay, it's not as easy as that. Conceded. I concede that point. It's not that easy. And selling can be a little bit difficult, particularly if you don't have an established sales account. So I've done videos on this, telling people that if you're going to sell bulk collectible items at the end, you need to sort of build up your portfolio, build up your eBay account or whatever it might be, maybe your Facebook feedback, so that when it comes time to sell, it's a lot easier. Now, when it comes to time consuming, I know it's a pain. Like, okay, you've got to go down to the post office. And we know you're not going to realize all your gains. You're going to have selling fees and you're going to have postage fees. But so does so many other things. So many other things have selling fees. Yes, shares, it's a very small one, but you do cop a brokerage fee. Selling a house, unless you can sell it yourself or flick it to a friend that you know wants to buy it, you're going to have to get some agent in to sell it for you. They're going to charge fees. When you buy a new property, you're going to have stamp duty costs. Okay, you're probably going to cop capital gains tax, of course. In Australia, on a collectible purchased under $500, there is 0 capital gains tax. You could have bought 50 cases of Evolving Skies. That's not a good example. Single booster boxes. You should have bought 500 single booster boxes of Evolving Skies individually, all for under $500. And now they're sitting at 1,000 Australian dollars because they're up to 700 US. If you bought them all for 200 Australian dollars and sold them at 1,000 Australian dollars each, you would pay no capital gains tax on that investment. So, hey, we get it. There is a little bit time consuming, but if you build up your profile, selling is not that hard. If you've got a good eBay profile and you pop a box of Evolving Skies online and let it go to auction, it's going to pump up and sell for probably 900 to 1,100 Australian dollars at the moment. It's not as hard as you think. And then, wait for a few sales to come through, head down to the post office, good bit of fun, box them up, post them out, done. Money's going to be in your account, not too much later, is it? So there we go. That point, I don't think it's as hard as people think. And it's part of the journey, it's part of the fun of it. Another one. It's impossible to make predictions, you said. There is no correlation. We can look at all the graphs in the world, but you sort of made this point, there's no trends and there's no correlations. Well, I don't know. I beg to differ, because, historically, the rule that I run by is, and we've seen this with Sword and Shield sets, and we saw it with Sun and Moon sets, and we saw it with X and Y sets, is the moment something's close to getting out of stock, even if it's gone up a little bit from, the bottom of the market that you could have bought it at. So maybe let's talk US dollars. Maybe you could have bought a Fusion Strike at, 85 or 90 US dollars, and it's sort of hovered around 110, 115 US dollars for ages. And then we saw low supply on TCG Player. Then we saw, the bottom of the market on eBay, only 20 boxes left under 130 US dollars. Then you go, hold on. As soon as these 20 boxes sell here and these 15 boxes sell on TCG Player, there is no box left under 135 US dollars. This thing is about to pop off. Like that is a trend. It's happened with every single Pokemon card set of the last probably 5 to 10 years. And another outlier, which seems to be a clear sort of predictor at the moment, is the Pokemon Center. As soon as boxes sell out on there, the US Pokemon Center, they just seem to make massive gains. We've just seen it again with Lost Origin and Astral Radiance and Brilliant Stars. So to say that we can't make predictions, it's the same as any investment though. Like you can't make a prediction about property prices. Okay, it's a lot more established, and over time, they go. You can't make prediction about shares. You can't make predictions about crypto. Everything, depends on a lot of economic factors and so many other variables. Like it does, we know that. Again, conceded. It's very, very hard to make an exact prediction, but given enough time and experience in the market, you can actually see trends in there. Now, what's another one? We should invest in more traditional investments, shares, real estate. I think I've really touched on this point already that, all of those have some fees attached to them. All of them will have capital gains attached to them. And then, Pokemon and Nostalgianomics actually did a good video on this where he just showed how, Pokemon investments over time have been outperforming the S&P 500 and other major share portfolios, 401k, etc. Like it's crazy how well the Pokemon cards can perform. I don't need to go into the same graphs that he went into. Now, the other point I wanted to make there when it comes to, traditional investments and the selling side of it, keep in mind if something dips, and again, your whole video related to Pokemon 151, how people were saying invest in it, and it was rising, it was on the rise, people were saying invest, and then all of a sudden it got reprinted and dropped significantly. Just a big reminder, don't be scared to hold something for a period of time. Just remember, you only make a loss when you sell. It's the same for property. It's the same for shares. It's the same for Pokemon cards. If you bought 151 at 190 US dollars, like the height of the market, or 210 US dollars even, and then people were buying it off Sneaker Dunk for, who knows exactly. There's a lot of people spruiking, I got it for this price and that price. But even if they got it for 80 US dollars posted or 100 US dollars posted, so half of what you paid for it, you only make a loss when you sell. Give it time to mature and come back. And the final point I wanted to touch on, because I know this video is starting to drag on a little bit, is that, the whole undertone of the video was that we don't believe in what we say. And now, another point that we see was this whole idea that, Pokemon investors are only in it for the money. Like those two almost go a little bit hand in hand, that we don't believe what we say and we're only in it for the money. So who cares what we say as long as we make money? And it's like, hold on, most of us, and me included, most of us are actually sort of collectors at heart. We grew up with this hobby as a kid, and there's particular reasons that we come back into it. And not only do we love investing in it, but we also love setting up displays. And, the amount of time I spent planning and setting up displays and adding this here and that there, like I enjoy the collecting side of it just as much as I enjoy the investing side of it. Now, some people might not. Of course, that's completely up to them. But I guess when we say, we don't believe in what we say, well, I guess the biggest premise behind that is, most of us, I assume, put our money where our mouth is. I know I do. When I'm telling people to, pick up Fusion Strike or Lost Origin, just as I can see it's about to go out of stock and make massive price gains, I'm buying as many of them as I possibly can as well. I believe what I'm telling you. I believe if I say, hey, look, I think this is a good investment because I think it's about to pop off in price, put your money there, that's where I'm putting my money as well. Now, we don't get it right 100 times out of 100 or 10 times out of 10. There's going to be times when we get it wrong, and I'll fall on my sword quite prominently when I said, I'm not sure if Japanese 151 will get a reprint. It's been, heavily printed already. PSA 10 populations are through the roof. I'm not sure if it will get a reprint. Maybe now is the best time to buy. And, this was probably, 3 months ago, etc., before the reprint came out. And what do we know? It's got reprinted. Okay, that can happen. But like I said, you only make a loss when you sell. Like, I'm happy to follow my sword and say, if I give 100 pieces of advice, predictions, based on trends, based on experience, not all of them are going to be right. It's the same as a financial advisor saying, hey, look, these are the shares I think you should park your money into. Here's 10 choices that I give you. Maybe 7 of them make money, but maybe 3 of them lose money. We can't get it. We can't get it right all the time because we don't have a crystal ball. But I can definitely say that most of us, myself included, believe in what we say. We're putting our money where our mouth is. So I guess hopefully that maybe covers off on most of the points in what you were saying. And really appreciate the offer to come onto the channel and have a discussion with you guys. It would have been great to be on there. A couple of Aussies and a couple of US patrons on the channel. That would have been a heap of fun. Anyway, go the Aussies. Catch everyone next time. This is Michael. I'm Pokey Oz.